Welcome to the Integration Station. I'm Ashley Michaud, your coach. It's all happening. Hey everyone. Hello, you beautiful souls. It's Ashley here with a special guest, Jorie. I wanted to really introduce you to her because what she's doing in the spirituality space right now is really amazing. I think it inspire a lot of you guys to just get out there and start taking action on some of your passions and these callings that you have in life to do. So without further ado, I'll pass you over to Joy and she can give you a little more information on who she is, her story, her journey to get here, and of course about what she's doing now and how she's helping people too.
Hey, I'm Jorie. My business is called Mystik Messenger. I do tarot readings, Akashic readings, and then I also teach Reiki online, and then I also teach like a starseed activation class, a chakra master class, spirit animals class, and then a shamanic initiation. And then I also make like handmade wands and different like shamanic tools and different things like that. I like to wrap things. And I just like helping people. I like talking about spirituality, and I'm always open to learn more. I intend on growing my business more and teaching more classes online.
What inspired your journey into this? I love, first of all, how you're like, I just like to wrap things, So are some of these things just what comes to you naturally, or, did you have to work to, tap into that creative flow? What's your journey and what inspires you?
I actually like to find things outside to wrap. So like I'll go for a walk and I'll find like a cool stick and I'll think, okay, I can make a cool wand with this. Or like I found a couple of days ago, I was in the ocean and I found this opened shell and I turned it into like this fairy portal and I glued a bunch of like different like mushrooms and like leaves and flowers and things inside of it. And I just like think of different things to make with nature. It's kind of what I like doing.
You spend a lot of time in nature just going for walks? And
I try to go at least once a day outside for a walk.
What would you say to anyone who doesn't have this practice yet of just getting outside, connecting with nature? Do you have any advice for them?
It helps so much because even just sitting in your house for like 2 days, you don't realize it. But once you go outside, like even just a little change of environment can change your whole perspective. So it can really help a lot, especially connecting like with the earth, because we forget what life really is when we're around buildings and all the time. And it's like we need to be in our natural habitat.
Absolutely. And a lot of us are so drifted from that. I know, for most of my life, all my life, I've been blessed to be close to forest or ocean or something. But when I was publishing my first book, and even now I'm like more in the suburbs, I'm getting back to that country. But for a while there, I was in the city, and I thankfully would go on a lot of road trips and get out. But I knew spending that little bit of time in the city, those few days a week, it was less convenient to get outside. And I could see easily how a lot of people would get into that trap of just not going out. I consider myself someone who is very much in alignment with nature. I build my life around it. And to have that experience myself, it really was humbling. And I could see, how that could have an effect on somebody, and how a lot of people may be disconnected in this way and can easily reconnect by just turning off the phone and going outside.
Yeah, and it's hard too because a lot of people work online now. And so like people kind of have to they're kind of dependent, like people have to be online. But we have to have that balance.
Yeah, and that's really it, is you found that balance. You're like, I want to teach classes online, but I also go outside every day. And then I tap into my creative flow and I
Exactly.
just let it go. Yeah,
Yeah, because it's like if you do one thing or the other, you start to like really miss one thing, and then it's like it's really good to just keep that balance.
how do you get yourself back on track if something goes out of balance?
I probably like to do Reiki on myself first. That's like I'll just lay down. I either like to take a bath and I'll do Reiki, or I'll just like lay down in bed, and I'll usually just fall asleep. And then when I wake up, I'll feel like energized, and I'll usually have like a clearer head.
How long have you been practicing with Reiki now?
Probably like 2.5 to 3 years. I
And what,
started teaching it like maybe 2 years ago.
okay. So yeah, about 6 months to get certified, practicing for 2 years. And what inspired that? How did it find you? Because I know for me it was like that. It was like just here you go, and then bam, there was the teacher, and then the certificate. Like everything happened, bam, bam, bam. I didn't even know about it at first.
Yeah, like I actually had a book lingering around. I have no idea where this book came from. It had a giant picture of a hand and it said Reiki healing on it. And I just felt drawn to it, so I picked up that book and I read it all the way through. And then so that like taught me a good understanding, and then I went and got certified by an actual teacher online who gave me like the attunements and everything, and then I learned more from that way. But I also feel like a lot of us are naturally attuned to Reiki, but we're not aware of it. And so I feel like I started doing it a long time before I was even aware of it.
Yeah, but like when you were ready, the teacher appears. That little quote.
Yeah.
So what else are you doing in your life? I know one of the conversations that we're both really passionate about is around using psychedelic mushrooms and other entheogens. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey and how it's transformed your life, your business, your health?
Yeah. I actually started my psychedelic journey when I was around 16. I was going through like a hard time at home. I lost like pretty much all my family, and I kind of used that, and it gave me like a bigger perspective of like what was going on in my life and why. And it also like opened me up to my gifts that I had. Like it opened me up to Reiki energy, and it opened me up to like psychic downloads and things like that. And I started to use them in like an experience. Like first I didn't really know what I was getting into. I was like 16, and people just kind of handed it to me. But then I started to realize like this is a sacred medicine. This isn't a party drug. I didn't want to do it around other people. I wanted to do it on my own, and I wanted to like do it in little experiments. So I would take like, sometimes I take a lot, so where I go into the higher realms, and then other times I take a little bit, so I'd only go into like the middle realms. And it definitely enhanced my third eye, and it enhanced a lot of like spiritual gifts. Like it increased my energy, I feel like, and obviously my awareness.
Yeah, and sensitivity to those other realms, understanding of nature, it seems like too, like that natural balance. Yeah, it came natural. I know in my own life, working with it very young, that it was so prominent in my own life too. And then, I see others who are born and raised in the city, and are like my partner, for instance. Okay, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Okay, him. I know you have connected with Tristan too, but so he's like very spiritual, but he wouldn't do anything on the psychedelic realm. He was like, no, no, even cannabis, no, no. And he's very much grown up in the city, disconnected from nature, more video games. And then, like, over the last few years, he first started working with cannabis for headaches, and then it ended up being psilocybin for other issues that were going on, and still like a dependency on Advil and stuff. Knowing that he was healing, he still wanted to use those kinds of things, and I guess I just see like the difference is that he starts using them, and now he's got that connectedness to nature. Now he understands the balance, but he was very out of balance for a very long time. And I think these medicines really do that for us, is that they help us find that balance. And it seems like you did that naturally too, which I know for me was because I was working with them at a very young age. It opened me up. It helped me become more sensitive to the world around me, and to my own intuitive guidance, and even what my body's trying to tell me. Like, go take a rest, go do Reiki.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I've been doing it for a long time, on and off. I do believe in, like, sometimes it's good to take breaks. It's not, sometimes, like, you can get dependent on them. So I took like a 6-month break, just like for myself. And then I went like back at it, and I felt like I needed that break, but it was still a really good, like, time period for healing.
So how often are you working with them now when you are? What have you found
Now,
best for your balance?
honestly, I believe that whenever it's supposed to come, it'll just present itself. So it just presents itself to me whenever I need it. And usually I'd say that's probably once every 2 weeks, something like that.
Then
But
do you
I'll stretch it out. Maybe I'll trip like once every 4 days, something like that.
so you'll take like 2 weeks off and then maybe microdose for 4 days?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big advocate too, especially when it comes to microdoses. Do it intuitively. I think for those bigger doses, I'm a true believer that you need more time to integrate, after those kinds of experiences. But for microdosing, doing that like receptor cleanse, taking a break, it's good for any psychedelic, including coffee, including tobacco, which are psychedelics, by the way. And then yeah, then in mushrooms, cannabis, it's all the same thing. We got to do that receptor cleanse, but then to come back and start working with it, as it's calling you. Like, we can go long amounts of time without these things. It's not a dependency in that way, though. If we have that kind of addictive behavior and we're seeing it as a crutch and using it as that, then that's a different kind of introspection that we got to be doing and working through. We see it with cannabis specifically, though, as they're changing this strains and like making them more potent, that they are becoming more addictive
Yeah.
for people too. Once it's no longer the whole natural plant, it
Yeah.
doesn't help with the same side effects in the same way. So
Yeah.
what are some of your other go-to tools? We've got creativity, we have Reiki, we have um what were we just talking about there? The psilocybin, doing microdosing. What other go-to tools have you got?
I've been using my drum a lot lately. I've been actually using sound healing a lot lately, so I'll use like my drum and my singing bowl. And I've never done this before, but like just recently, Spirit has asked me to really start diving into the sound healing. And I'll start like singing, and like I sound really bad, but I'll just sing like different tones and I'll feel it in like each of my chakras, and like I'll actually do it really loud when I'm by myself, and I'll hear like this singing echo. It's like, I don't know what it's like, throat singing. It's kind of like that, but I feel it throughout different body parts that I'm trying to clear out. And that actually has been helping a lot lately.
Have you ever worked with a didgeridoo?
I haven't, I've always wanted to, but I love the didgeridoo.
Yeah, it's a good throat one. I practiced with a little bit when I was in Peru, but I wasn't so good. But Colombian, man, I had just come from Colombia like a few weeks before that, so I was like really connected to this guy, and that's what he did. He went into the jungle, he got all the stuff, made one, and he was trying to teach me how to use it. And everybody, whenever he'd come around, they'd all come around and just be like, I don't even can't remember what they said. It was so long ago, but it was something like they would just worship him for like the sound that he was making, like it's cleansing your soul. There's a another song that comes to mind about heal my body, cleanse my soul, but uh yeah, that wasn't the one that they were singing, but it was something like that, and it was very hard for me to do. I couldn't get it, and at that time, anyways. But I've worked with other ones since, and yeah, still it's not necessarily my thing. I like singing, but I see the power of it, and I love listening to it. So yeah, I encourage you, either like go try it or go make one, or find somebody who's doing that stuff and selling it, because you could even do a barter with your business. You have so many services available, and I'm sure that that may just be another one of those healing tools for your tool belt. The
Yeah,
sound vibration.
yeah, I love it. I'll actually be doing it while I'm driving too, because that's like one of the alone times I get. So like I'll just start singing really loudly when I'm in the car, and like I'll just feel like this like shift around the car, and I feel like people can feel it.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff, and everything is vibration. Were you always open, able to express yourself in a way like that, or do you feel like it's part of the chakra awakening? Like now you're growing into those abilities.
I don't feel like I was always. I feel like I was closed off for a while. I was pretty blocked from a lot of things just because of like things I've been through in my life, but I just spent a lot of time healing myself and giving the intention to open myself up.
What does that look like in your practice? Just for anybody who's feeling stuck in that area right now, what would you recommend? What kind of advice?
If you're feeling stuck, I usually, for me, that like when every time I felt stuck, I would just kind of like take a break. Like I just stopped doing, I looked at everything I was doing and think about like how I could do things differently. Um, yeah, I really just take a break and like a self-reflection.
The inner contemplation.
Yeah.
Tristan and I have an ongoing joke about it's not overthinking, it's contemplation with intention. And as long as you're, doing that type of work and able to like release the thoughts instead of holding on to them, it's natural to go inside and want to, work through those things and clear up some of, what's not meant to be there anymore, some of the clutter.
Yeah. And there's a lot if you don't realize, if you don't pay attention to it, that can stack up. And you won't even realize it until after you cleanse yourself.
Do you have any other cleansing rituals that you do in your life?
Um, I like to, I think cleaning, like people forget that to have a clean mind, you have to have like a clean house. And so like that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned is like just keeping your house clean. And so this means like cleaning things up, but also like lighting incense and sage or candles or whatever you feel like safe in. This will help you with like your internal body.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. You know, if you can get that kind of feng shui going and air can circulate, your vibration's gonna be different. You're gonna be more clear. You're gonna be a more flow from that. But if there is a bunch of clutter, it's just a representation of what's going on in your mind, of what you're holding on to, which oftentimes it can get heavy, the types of things that human beings just hold on to now. And you know, it's nice to have those kinds of rituals. I'm a really a big advocate too for donating extra things, for having fires, for like those journals and diaries and all those kinds of things. Like, go ahead, use the information, give it a purpose, but then the stuff that doesn't have purpose anymore, just burning it and allowing it to become smoke and become ash. You know, it allows all of those great ideas to transform into something else, and all of the things that aren't meant to be, it's giving that energy back to Mama Nature, who knows what to do with it a lot better than I would.
Yes, like I used to actually write in a journal every day since I was in kindergarten up until like the middle of high school. And it's just, there were like 12 diaries, like 12 thick journals, and I just burned them all because it was just heavy weight that I didn't need and memories that I didn't want to hold on to.
How did it feel in that? Because I know for a fact that there's people who are gonna watch this later who've heard me, talk about this, and it's not like, and some people really want to hold on. So, what piece of advice would you give for any of them?
Sometimes it's like you just gotta say like F it, like even if you don't want to, you just kind of, even though you have to. Sometimes we don't want to do what we have to do, but it feels really good. Like a lot of, like, especially just healing and all of this spiritual stuff. Um, a lot of people don't want to do it, but once you do it, then you feel great. Then that's when you feel like empowered. It's after you do it.
Yeah, it's always empowering to do something you don't want to do. I feel it's really freeing too, to just allow things to go. It almost declares to the universe that you trust the universe to provide. You don't have to hold on, because anything that you need, you already have, or it's coming for you. And sometimes you have to let go in order to receive too. It's like, when somebody gets constipated in a way, you have to have that emotional colonic, that energetic colonic, that physical colonic. Just let it go.
I like your artwork in the back, by the way. That's really pretty.
Oh, thank you. Love that it had all the chakra colors and still looked psychedelic. The tree, that was extra for me. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I saw that on your website there are tons of testimonies, and that in some of the divination that you do, there must be a lot of diversity in there, people that you work with and things like that. Is there any funny stories that you can share with us that may lighten the load for anybody who wants to get into this like so-called like woohoo world, but is like holding back in that way?
I don't know if I have anything funny. I just know that a lot of times, like for the spiritual like attunements, like the Reiki attunements, a lot of times people might not know like what they're getting into. I kind of warn them, like during the attunement, it's going to bring up a lot of intense emotions, things that you're going to have to deal with. And so people, sometimes people go in thinking it's just going to be all like peace and love, but there's a lot of stuff that's going to be healed, because this is a healing process. So it's going to bring up a lot of sometimes not good like feelings.
So what would be your piece of advice for, preparing better and then also for recovering as they're feeling through this?
I would actually suggest to try to spend as much time on your own as you can, like just so you can spend like more time with yourself, because you need to like really understand yourself. Um, so yes, like a lot of meditation, a lot of sleep too, a lot of water. It's almost like treat it like you're sick. It's like you just really need to take care of yourself.
And do you see any coming trends in the Reiki-verse?
This is a fun question. I see there are a lot of people getting into Reiki now, and that's really good. I'm glad to hear that. I don't know. I see a lot of people. I see a lot of videos where people are going like this, like their activation videos on TikTok. I think that's a new trend.
Tristan, he is all in on, the Reiki mastery and personal alchemy and all this kind of stuff too. And actually, like, he got one of these that he just found in the forest to a wand. He's on this.
That's cool.
It's gonna be a cool one. He'll probably contact you to learn how to wrap it. He's never made one before, but he said that this is made for him, or it's his job.
That's so cool.
Oh,
wow.
He's on this thing right now about Reiki coming in to the hospitals and into the medical field. And yeah, I was just curious if, these are things that you've seen or been hearing about in where you are.
I actually haven't heard that, but I wouldn't be surprised. I've been hearing things like similar to that, like not specific like that. I've just been hearing, this spirituality is going to be more integrated into like our culture. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if that were to happen. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna definitely have him contact you after with, some of the resources that he's had on this, because it may open up some other opportunities. We only have a few more minutes here, so I have for you 2 more questions. One of them is that, if I gave you this wand right now, this soon-to-be wand, and it could grant you 3 wishes, what are the 3 changes you would make in the world?
Well, I would take away poverty. Honestly, I think freedom is another one. Like, I think people in different countries should be able to go anywhere they want, and we should all just be able to easily go wherever. And then
I love that one. Well, obviously both of them. Poverty's a good one too, but the freedom to travel, I always love to think about life with no borders too.
Yeah. And I just think I kind of wish we had like a universal language, so like all countries could like just talk to each other, and so we could all understand each other easier.
Yeah, I love that too. Actually, you mentioned a few times, spending that time alone and, being like in connection with the universe. And one of the best times of my life for having that experience was when I was in South America and I couldn't speak any Spanish other than fucking bueno, which meant fucking beautiful, or baño, which was so close, so I could make jokes about it, but baño means bathroom, and sometimes you just gotta use the bathroom. So I didn't know very, very much, so I spent a lot of time, even though I made friends, we were connected through this other way of communication that wasn't language. It's kind of like when you're working with the plant medicines and teachers, it's a different kinds of, it's just through frequency maybe, where it all comes together into that vibration, you get it. And because I spent a lot of time without the full verbal communication that we're used to, I was, yeah, I was able to tap into that a little bit more, but I also learned to spend that alone time with myself too in that way. Yeah. A lot of benefits in travel. And it's, yeah, very interesting how you, yeah, how it all comes together in this one question with you. So my next and final question is, how can everybody reach you? How can they contact you? And of course, I'm going to link everything below so it's easier to access. But yeah, pass it back over to you, Jorie.
Okay. My website is mystikmagick.com. It's spelled MYSTIK, and then magic.com. And then my email is ma7jorie@gmail.com.
Thank you so much, Jorie. Thank you for your time today. Just having another conversation with me is always a pleasure. I'm looking forward to connecting even more. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye for
Yeah,
now.
you too. It's nice talking to you.
You too. Bye, Jorie.
Bye.